Hello everyone, welcome to my class today. Today we'll be seeing the next topic in cardiovascular system, that is hypotension. So hypotension is abnormally low blood pressure. So normal blood pressure is 120 by 80 mmHg. So 120 is the systolic blood pressure and 80 is the diastolic blood pressure. So when the blood pressure is less than 90 mmHg of systolic BP and less than 60 mmHg of diastolic BP, then we call it as hypertension. And when you see the definition of blood pressure, so it is a force of blood pushing against the wall of the arteries as the heart pumps. So when the heart is contracting and sending the blood flow through the arteries, so how much pressure they are creating in order to flow the blood, that is called as blood pressure. And coming to the types of hypotension, there are mainly four types. One is postural or orthostatic hypotension. So postural means position. Okay, so when a person suddenly sitting or standing from a lying position, then he goes for hypotension. Okay, even sometimes many of us would have felt the postural hypotension. Okay, so when we are long time sleeping and suddenly in the morning we get up, we suddenly feel the hypotension or like chakkar, or what we say dizziness you feel, that is called as postural or orthostatic hypotension. This is because when you are lying in a straight line, a flat position, the blood is moving in a smooth way, but when you stand up, the venous return has to, that is the from the legs, the blood has to pump against gravity to the heart. So that time patient will have the dizziness, and that time the person may show a low BP, that is called as postural or orthostatic hypotension. And next, coming to postprandial hypertension. So postprandial is after meals. Okay, so sometimes there can be a drop in blood pressure after meals. So mainly this occurs in older adults, and if the patient is having a Parkinson's disease, then it is most common. Okay, so Parkinson is a nervous disorder where there is degeneration of the nerves, and because of that there is problem in the neurotransmitter secretions. Okay, so that is dopamine and other chemicals are no, or transmitter, that is they are reduced, and thereby the person will go for Parkinson's disease. So it's a big class we will see in the nervous system. So when Parkinsonism is there in older adults, after meals they may have a low BP or a feeling of dizziness, that is called as postprandial hypotension. And neurally mediated hypotension is, this is occurs because of some nervous changes. Mainly there is autonomic nervous system which are responsible for vasoconstriction and vasodilation. Okay, so whenever there is some triggering of the nerves. Okay, so that is in case of children who are standing for a long time. Okay, so even when you were small in colleges or in schools, when you are standing in the assembly, suddenly you may fall down. Okay, so this is because sudden low BP due to nervous transmission. So that is when you are exposed to a hot weather or standing for a long time, or due to some exaggeration of emotions is suddenly you are very happy or suddenly we are very sad, any grief, loss, anything can exaggerate the nerves. So where the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system is not in a balance, so patient may go for low blood pressure. And next is severe hypotension. So this one hypotension occurs in case of shock. Shock means a condition where the body will lose the blood, or the person may be in severe dehydration where there is no adequate blood in the arteries, that is in the blood vessels. So because of that patient will have low BP, and this is a life threatening condition. Patient may go for death, so it has to be treated immediately. So this, by giving so many fluids, IV fluids, you can revert the patient from the severe hypotension. And coming to the causes of hypotension, so there are mainly four causes. One is reduced blood volume. Okay, so reduced blood volume is called as hypovolemia. Hypo means decreased, volume is the amount, and the mia is the blood. So when there is decreased blood volume, the patient can go for hypotension, because when there is decreased blood, there is no pressure created on the walls of the arteries, so patient will have a low BP. So this can occur in case of hemorrhage or blood loss, that is when there is bleeding, and insufficient fluid intake by starvation or any dehydration. Okay, so when we are fasting and not taking even water for a long time, the body goes for dehydration and there will be decreased blood flow in the blood vessels, and excessive fluid loss by diarrhea and vomiting. Okay, so when patient is having excessive diarrhea, non-stop diarrhea, we tell them to take ORS fluids. Okay, when patient is not compensating the fluids, when he is having excessive diarrhea and vomiting, then he can go for hypotension. And next, excessive use of diuretics. Okay, so mainly for kidney patients, in order kidney or heart problems, any disease condition, we give diuretics in order to increase the excretion of urine from the kidneys. Okay, that is elimination of urine. So when more of water and fluid is lost in the urine, again the blood volume may decrease and they can go for low blood pressure. Okay, next is decreased cardiac output. So cardiac output is the amount of blood that is pumped through the aorta in 1 minute is called as cardiac output. Okay, so there is around 5 to 6 liters of cardiac output per minute is occurring every minute. And when this amount of blood, the heart having some problem and it is not able to contract, and when they are not able to give the blood through the blood vessels, that is through the aorta, if they are not able to supply the blood, then the arteries, that is the blood vessels, will deprived of blood supply. When there is reduced blood supply, then they go for reduced, there is no pressure created, so there will be low blood pressure. So this occurs in case of congestive heart failure. So heart is failed, so heart is not able to contract and there is no adequate blood flowing to the arteries. So when the arteries are not receiving blood supply, the blood will be there will be decreased blood flow, which will cause decreased blood pressure. And next is myocardial infarction. So infarction, again it is a death of the myocardial tissue. So when the myocardium tissue dies, again myocardium is mainly responsible for contractile function, so contraction cannot take place. And bradycardia is low heart rate. Okay, so that is decreased heart rate. Again when the heart rate is decreased, the BP also will decrease, because decreased blood is perfusing to the through the blood vessels. And cardiogenic shock, so this also condition where the heart is going for shock. This is due to SA node is not triggering the impulses. So only when the SA node triggers the impulses and pass through the AV node and the bundle of his and Purkinje fibers, then only heart will start to contract. So in cardiogenic shock, the SA node is not starting the impulse, so the person is going for shock and the heart is not able to contract and give the cardiac output. And use of beta blockers to slow the heart rate. Okay, so sometimes during some procedures or when the person is having excess BP, or when there is tachycardia, so in any of the heart disorders or any condition, we may give beta blockers. So when more of beta blockers is given, the heart rate will slow. Again when the heart rate is decreased, there is decreased blood flow to the blood vessels, and when the blood flow is decreased, there is blood pressure is also decreased. And next condition is vasodilation or insufficient constriction of blood vessels. Okay, that is when some condition where the blood vessels are dilated abnormally. So in dilation of blood vessels, so there should be, the blood vessel should be normal, so that there will be normal pressure. When the blood vessel is abnormally dilated and only little blood is flowing, then they don't cause pressure in the walls of the artery, so patient will go for low blood pressure. So this occurs due to decreased sympathetic nervous system activity. So in an autonomic nervous system, there are sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic is responsible for vasoconstriction and parasympathetic for vasodilation. So when the sympathetic nervous system is functioning decreased, then there won't be vasoconstriction, there will be only vasodilation. So that is increased parasympathetic nervous system activity by injury to spinal cord. Okay, so any injury to spinal cord, they can decrease the sympathetic function and increase the parasympathetic function. So the blood vessels will go for vasodilation. So when there is vasodilation, again there is no pressure created in the walls of the artery, so patient will go for low blood pressure. And next is sepsis or acidosis. Sepsis is a condition where there is massive infection in the body and the blood is also infected. Okay, so when there is sepsis, the walls of the arteries are getting irritated because of the microorganisms. So again the walls of the artery will get injured and they can go for vasodilation. Again, acidosis is a condition where the pH of the blood is decreased. Okay, so that means there is increased acidic concentration in the blood. This can occur due to diabetes or any renal failure. So any of these conditions, so the blood will become acidic. So again acid blood can irritate the walls of the arteries and they can cause neuronal injury where the arteries will get dilated. So because of that patient can go for hypotension. And use of medications such as antihypertensives and anesthetic agents. Okay, so when antihypertensives are given in order to treat hypertension, so when those drugs are given, the blood vessels can dilate and thereby patient can go for hypotension. And anesthetic agents, so anesthetic agents are given prior to surgery. So when the person is getting operated, in order to make the patient sleep, or that is in order to anesthetize the patient, they give anesthetic agents. Again this anesthetic agent can cause relaxation of all the muscles and blood vessels. So the smooth muscle relaxation will occur, so blood vessels will be relaxed and dilated, so the patient can go for hypotension. And other causes are, so miscellaneous is other causes, so like hormonal changes, so mainly catecholamines and the aldosterone. So these are all responsible for maintaining the BP. So when there is hormonal disarrange, that is dearrange, or the hormonal problem is there, then the patient can go for decreased BP. Okay, and again widened blood vessels, so this again due to vasodilation, patient can have decreased blood pressure. And low or high body temperature, so when there is low or high body temperature, that is when a person is standing in the sun for a long time, he can go for hypotension because he will get dehydrated. Again when the person is having low body temperature, there will be fluid will extravasate outside, so that is the person fluid won't be there, so it will come outside and thereby the blood vessels will be deprived of fluid, which can go for low blood pressure. And anemia, so anemia is a condition where the blood is the hemoglobin concentration of the blood is low, so blood is not having any concentration. Okay, so blood will be so dilute and there won't be pressure to move the blood inside the arteries. Next, coming to the pathophysiology of hypotension. So any of the predisposing factors. Okay, so we have discussed so many causes, so any of these causes, they can affect the nervous system. So here there is imbalance in regulation of autonomic nervous system. Okay, so this autonomic nervous system is going through the spinal cord. So there is problem when there is injury or any problem, there will be, or any hormonal changes, there will be imbalance in the autonomic nervous system function. So where there will be decreased effect of sympathetic. So in autonomic there are mainly two nervous system, one is sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So when they go in imbalance, so the sympathetic function will get decreased and the parasympathetic activity will be increased. So because it will take opposite. Okay, so sympathetic function is to cause vasoconstriction. So when they are decreased, vasoconstriction will not take place. And parasympathetic function is for vasodilation. So when they are increased, they will go for vasodilation. So because of this, there is massive vasodilation, that is increased in the size of the blood vessels. So when the blood vessel size is increased, there is no pressure created to flow the blood vessels. Okay, that is the pressure inside the blood vessel is decreased. So when decreased blood pressure is there, that is called as hypotension. And coming to the clinical manifestations of hypotension, so there is cardinal symptoms. Okay, so that is main symptoms which are which the patient will have when he is in a severe hypotension. So the main symptoms are headache, lightheadedness, dizziness, fainting and seizures. Okay, so these are all, seizures means fits. So these are all because nerves are damaged, there will be these symptoms. So patient will immediately have the fainting and he may fall down. And the associated symptoms, so if the cause is due to heart, then the patient may go for chest pain, shortness of breath, irregular heartbeat, or any high fever more than, so it can be increased temperature or it can be a low temperature. So increased temperature when he is in a hot weather, low temperature when he is in a cold weather. So in case if he is in a cold weather, his skin will become pale, that is white, and cold and clammy skin will be there, and in hot temperature the fever will be more than 101 degree Fahrenheit, and stiff neck will be there. So this is because of the low BP, the body will become stiff, so stiff neck. Prolonged diarrhea and vomiting, so because dehydration is there and patient is in low BP, so he will still show the diarrhea and vomiting until medication is given and treated. And dyspepsia, so that is indigestion, this is because decreased blood flow to the GI system, patient digestion will also be impaired. And dysuria and foul smelling urine, this all because if the kidneys are getting low blood, so when there is decreased BP, decreased blood will go to the organs. So when kidney is having less of blood supply, then the person will have dysuria, which means difficulty in urination. So when the urine is very concentrated, there will be foul smelling urine. And patient will have loss of consciousness. So whenever patient is hypotension, the nerves are damaged, so the person will have the dizziness and he will faint, that is called loss of consciousness. And fatigue is extreme tiredness, and sometimes his vision will go for blurring, that is called blurred vision. And next, coming to diagnostic evaluation, so we have to collect the history regarding the cause, like whether patient had some bleeding or any heart problem, so everything you have to collect in the history, so to identify what is the cause. And physical examination, so in BP monitoring you will identify patient is having low BP, that is less than 96 by 60 mmHg, and ECG and echocardiogram is done. So this is done only if the patient is having any heart problem which is predisposing to low BP. And exercise test, stress test, this also to identify the cardiac function. So here they will place the patient in a treadmill and the patient will be walking in the treadmill. So every 3 minutes they will be checking for the heart function. Okay, so they will take all the basic parameters, the ECG, the heart rate, the saturation, so all the basic the respiratory rate, everything will be monitored, and every 3 minutes the speed of the treadmill will be increased, and there are 7 cycles, and they will identify till what cycle the patient can go. So this is mainly to see if the patient heart is functioning properly and it is giving adequate blood supply. And head tilt test, so this is done mainly in case of postural hypotension or neurocardiogenic syncope. Syncope is fainting. So when having fainting due to nervous or heart problem, or if the patient is having postural hypotension, they will give a head tilt test. Okay, so here the patient will be tilted, that is he will be put in different position in the table, and the patient will be strapped in the bed. He will be secured by strapping tightly with the bed, and the patient will be kept in different positions, and in each position they will check for the blood pressure, heart rate, and any symptoms that will be recorded. So if he is not able to accommodate in different positions, that is when the BP falls or the heart rate and symptom, the patient is having any symptoms like fainting or headache, lightheadedness, everything will be recorded. So with that they will identify patient is having a postural hypotension. Coming to treatment of hypotension, so we have to do volume resuscitation. This is to replace the fluids that is lost in diarrhea and vomiting. Okay, so they can give crystalloids or colloids. Crystalloids are low molecular weight compounds, so they are the ordinary normal saline, ringer lactate, the D5, DNS which we give in the hospital. Colloids are high molecular weight compounds like tetrahes and histas, so they will increase the BP. So this is given if there is massive reduction in blood pressure and severe hypotension. And blood transfusion is done if the patient is having blood loss, massive blood loss and anemia. So to treat that we do blood transfusion. And norepinephrine is a drug which is given to administer the support BP. Okay, so it is a catecholamine. So whenever there is adrenal insufficiency and it cannot secrete the hormone, then it can be administered. And midodrine is given in case of postural hypotension. This is because when standing it will increase the pressure in the arteries during standing position, so that we can prevent the postural hypotension, that is which is related to nervous system dysfunction. And dobutamine is given, so this will increase the heart contractility and also it will improve the tissue perfusion. That is, by increasing the heart contractility, it increases the blood pressure, so patient will treat the hypotension. And mainly we have to treat the appropriate cause, like in case of myocardial infarction, then we have to do a CABG, that is coronary artery bypass grafting, and treat so that the heart will contract and thereby patient can prevent the hypotension. In case of sepsis and adrenal insufficiency, they give glucocorticoids and mineralocorticoids. Okay, so the drug of choice is fluticasone. And coming to the management of hypotension, so we have to advise the patient to drink plenty of fluids and Trendelenburg position. Okay, Trendelenburg position, in this the leg end will be raised and the head end will be lowered. So because of this there will be excess venous return to the heart and thereby we can prevent the hypotension. And we have to tell the patient to do regular exercises. So when there is no exercise, then the blood will not flow and patient can go for clot formation, and all this can also predispose to low BP. So tell the patient to do regular exercises in order to promote the blood flow. And patients with hypotension, we have to tell them to wear the elastic stocking in the legs, so that there will be pressure created within the arteries and it can also improve the venous return to the heart, and thereby they can treat the low blood pressure. Next, in prevention, we have to tell the patient, if he has postural hypotension, not to suddenly get up from lying to sitting or standing position. Okay, so the person has to sit at the edge of the bed, rest his head or support his head in the nearby wall or in the headrest. Then he has to proceed slowly to the standing position and avoid heavy lifting. So again, if patient like if there is so much lifting and strenuous exercise, this can also again cause more of dehydration and patient can go for low BP. So you have to tell them to avoid all heavy lifting and heavy work. And avoid straining while on toilet. So patient should not have constipation, so he has to take more of fiber diet and prevent constipation, because even straining in toilet may cause heart cardiogenic shock or heart to stand still, so that the person will have decreased cardiac contractility and thereby there will be decreased BP. And also patients should not stand long time in a same position. Okay, so that he must be moving or walking around. So even long time standing position, again the nerves will get irritated and thereby the imbalance in the autonomic nervous system can occur. So you have to tell the patient not to stand in a same position for a long time. And avoid prolonged exposure to hot water like hot showers or any spas, and also hot weather. So all those excessive hot he has to avoid, because excessive hot can cause massive vasodilation, and when there is vasodilation patient will go for decreased BP. And also when the patient is having dizziness and hypotension, you must make sure the floor is all non-slippery, and also tell the patient whenever he feel like dizzy he has to immediately sit down, otherwise he may fall and get a injury. So these are the prevention strategies you will teach the patient. I hope you would have understood the class. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe and click the notification button and share with your friends if you like this video. Thank you.